Okay, hello again. This is now tarot lesson number 125. And it might be short only because I can't remember why. I can't remember the starting point for the idea for what I'm going to talk about. So I may end up halfway through with nothing else to say, but the most important thing is, can you, in the comments or email me directly and tell me what tarot questions or what tarot related situations you struggle with, so that I can, if thing is, I've got my own understanding and I just not make stuff up, but I sort of do what I think is interesting, but I may be missing what's important to you or for you. So if you can tell me in the comments what you struggle with, big or small, it really doesn't matter. Tell me what you struggle with and I'll put together information that will ideally solve your problem or at least help you in some way or point you in the right direction where you're going to find a solution. Because why not? So the idea began with the horoscope. So this, for instance, is a horoscope. And this is Aries, the child of the Zodiac. So Aries, and I mentioned this like 2 years ago maybe, but Aries is the urge to incarnate. And so what happens is some part of you has the urge to incarnate, and then you're in a womb for 10 months or 40 weeks, ideally. And so what happens is that Aries is the urge to incarnate, and then you go backwards through the zodiac. Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius, and Scorpio. And then you go around, and this is Cancer, the doorway to incarnation. And so you incarnate in Cancer, and you haven't dealt with Gemini or Taurus. That's a different kind of story. I wanted to look at today at these first 5 signs, because Aries is I am, the key word is I am, and Aries is the urge to incarnate. Pisces is I believe, and I'll get to that. Aquarius is I know. Capricorn is I utilize or I use. Sagittarius is I understand. And Scorpio is I desire. So I think my starting point was a lot of people with the law of attraction and goal setting and all the rest of it. I think it has to do because a few days ago I watched something on goal setting, and the point was made that what you want isn't usually a single thing. Usually what you want is multiple different things that all relate to each other. So let's say you want a car, or let's say you want a Rolex watch. So yes, you want the watch, but you want the watch because it shows that you have been successful, or it's something that will make other people think better of you, or it's something because you enjoy the beauty of the watch itself and you like the technology within it. So wanting a watch, for instance, or a car or something like that, isn't just wanting a car or wanting a watch. There's a whole lot of other things connected with it. And if you know what the other things are, you're going to have a better chance of getting the thing that you want. So I desire is Scorpio. But Aries is the urge to incarnate. I think the point I want to make is if you're setting goals, don't start off with what you want, because that's Scorpio, and Scorpio is like step 5. So this is the urge. Pisces, so figure out first, what do you believe? And then what do you know? Because starting with what you believe, that can change what you believe, or you can discover more information so it changes what you believe. So make a list maybe of what you believe, and then look at each item on the list of what you believe and think, what do I actually know? And then you've got beliefs that become knowledge, or you can remove certain beliefs because you don't know for sure that they actually are valid. Then once you know what you know, you test it, because Capricorn is I use or I utilize. Then Sagittarius is I understand. So you, by using things or trying out different things, you end up with understanding of whether the thing is actually workable or valid or reliable or whatever. But at this point you understand. Then when you understand because you've tried it, because it was based on what you know and not just on what you believe, then you can desire. If you go through these steps first, then get to desire, you're going to desire, I don't want to say you're going to desire the right things, but you're going to desire what's valid or what's legitimate or what's viable, what you actually want. And because you actually want it, you're going to get it. Because a lot of times we don't get what we ask for because we don't really want it, because it's not really based on personal choice or personal preference. So with all that in mind, I've got some major trumps here. And I'm going to use C.C. Zane's zodiacal sign correlation with major trumps. So Aries is the urge to incarnate, and Aries is the death card. So death card is about the urge to experience, to go into life or to go into a new situation or to get into a new set of circumstances and become childlike again and learn and explore and be childlike. So I've been writing this book on Hamlet. I'm looking at Hamlet word by word and line by line. So the bit that I got to recently was Act 1, Scene 4, where Hamlet is going to meet the ghost of his father for the first time. And he talks about why should I be afraid? Because my soul is immortal, as is the ghost, so I've got nothing to fear. And I thought, immortality. So if we are immortal, that we don't really die, then the death card represents the death, not the actual death of the immortal part of you, but it's a bit like you put the immortal part of you on hold, right? You sort of suspend it so that you can experience life in the world. And that's what I want to say about the death card. So think about the death card when it comes up, what it means. If it's the idea, it's an urge to incarnate, to go into life and experience the good and the bad and the indifferent and see what you get out of it. So that's Aries, the urge to incarnate. And step 1 is Pisces. And Pisces, according to C.C. Zane, is the hanged man. So I'm looking at this thinking, okay, maybe the urge to incarnate, step 1 is you've got to understand there are going to be delays in life because the hanged man is suspension and hanging upside down. And so maybe lesson number 1, because we're in the womb for these 12 cards or these 10 cards. And so what do you learn about while you're growing or developing? Maybe the first thing we need to learn about is patience, that things are going to take longer than we maybe want them to take. But then it occurred to me, the hanged man is hanging upside down. When you're hanging upside down, you see the world from a different angle, a different perspective. And maybe that's what the lesson of the hanged man is about. Can you see the world from a different angle, a different perspective from other people? Normally we look at the world and it's upright. Here, can we also look at it when it's upside down? 2 things about that. One is, if you, the camera obscura, camera means a room in Latin, and obscura means dark. So the idea is that medieval artists, some of them anyway, they would be in a dark room. They would have a curtain hiding the light, and if you put a little pinhole in a black curtain, the light that shines through is then projected onto the wall opposite. But the thing is, the picture is upside down, which strikes me as being highly significant. I don't quite know what to do with it, but it's just that the hanged man if we see the hangman projected onto a wall, is actually somebody standing upright outside, but in our dark room, in our studio, whatever, the hangman is upside down. And then it occurred to me, when you're born, you emerge head first. At which point I want to stop, because I think that's just kind of mind-blowing idea. That I mean, obviously, if you're cesarean, then you don't emerge head first, or maybe you do. But normal birth takes place through a birth canal, and you emerge head first. And that seems to me to be important. So that's Pisces, that's about belief. It's followed by knowing. So maybe we go through, you're the hanged man, and then you have to learn to know. And that's, we become, it's the hermit stage. So the hermit is about learning to know rather than just believe. So belief is easy. You just believe in it. You don't need proof. You don't need verification. You don't need anything. I just believe it, and that's enough. It seems, but really, it's, if you're going to emerge into the world and deal with people and problems and situations, just believing something isn't enough. It's a bit like there's something in Strawberry Field Forever. Living is easy with eyes closed, misunderstanding all you see. And that's kind of like belief. So with the Hermit card, we're learning, and we're learning to know. And so think about knowledge, which is something you can be certain about, or you've it's not just a belief, it's got backing, it's got something to prove, something behind it. So maybe with the Hermit card, what is behind the situation, or what is at the back of what you're going to do? What's the foundation maybe for the actions that you're going to take as the Hermit? Because the next card is Capricorn, and the Capricorn word is I use. So once you know things, you're meant to do something with them. You're meant to practice them, or try them, or test them against the world. And so we've got the Justice card, which according to C.C. Zane relates to Capricorn. So here we've got we've got what we think we know, and now we're going to test it and see if it actually works, or if we can continue to have faith and confidence in what we think we know. So here there's something hidden. You can, maybe the curtain, behind the curtain there's light. So there's certain things in the Justice card that we can't see. So when the Justice card comes up, yes, you can maybe deal with it, but there's going to be something that you don't know about. There's going to be an unknown factor that may be a problem, but it may not be. But it's just the idea that with the Justice card, maybe you've got 95% of the information, but there's a missing 5% or something. So with Justice, you find balance, and then you take action, because that's just what the sword in the right hand can mean. You've got knowledge from the Hermit, wisdom maybe, and now you want to test your wisdom. This can be the Solomon who was, remember the story of Solomon, how the two women both claimed that the baby was theirs, and Solomon said, okay, how are we going to decide? Why don't we cut the baby in two, and you have half each? And one mother, or one potential mother, said, that sounds like a good idea. And the other one says, no, give it to her. I don't want the baby to be hurt. And Solomon knew that it was the baby, that she was the mother. So maybe with the Justice card, can we have the wisdom of Solomon? The Hermit is wisdom, but it has to be tested in the world. It has to be tried. And you've got to make sure that it actually is wisdom, and not just a belief that you've forgotten about because it's convenient to forget about what we believe. So we test things, and then we've got Sagittarius, which is I understand. So only when you test things against the world or in the world do you understand what you're dealing with. Because it's easy to, if you never test something, you don't know, you can believe it or you can think you know it, but you don't know if it actually works. So with the Justice card, it's followed by Sagittarius. And again, for CC Zen, Sagittarius is the Chariot card, or the Charioteer. So you test things and then you go places because it's a vehicle, the Chariot. And maybe the individual in the Justice card who has the balance and the scales and then takes action because you've found balance and you're willing to do something with it. That means you can then go places because it's a vehicle, it's a car, a cart. So with the Chariot card, it's up to you to decide where you're going to go. What's your destination going to be? Because maybe you can go pretty much anywhere that you want, but the question is, where are you going to go and how are you going to get there? So the Chariot can be about movement and exploration. If going back to the Death card, the child, be like a child, explore and take a chance and see how things are going to work out. So with the Chariot, you are in a position, because you know and because you've tested it from the Justice card, you can confidently and optimistically go and move and try to get to a particular destination, which means that you're now able to desire correctly or desire appropriately. And desire is the Emperor card. So it's a bit like, what do you want? Now you're capable of knowing what you want. And it can be with the Emperor card when it comes up in a reading. Make sure the questioner knows what led them to the Emperor position. And make sure that they've got an idea of what they're going for and why, and what it is that they want to achieve and what direction they want to go in. And so they understand that, because a lot of what people want to do is a reaction to how they were treated in childhood, for instance. So if your parents ignored you, maybe you want to become a big shot or you want to become well known and famous, but it can be a kind of unrealistic expectation. And so sometimes with the Emperor, you can find that the person wants something not because they actually want it, but more because it'll take away the pain that they're suffering because of experiences they had in the past. But with the Chariot, with understanding, you're going to aim yourself in the right direction and you're going to make it because it's the right direction. Because you figured it out, you've thought it through, you've tried it, you know you're doing the right thing, and it's not just a belief, but it's your urge to incarnate. Okay, that's as far as I got with that. So I don't know what you'll make of that. Can you let me know what you struggle with? And the next one may be a continuation of this, and we'll look at the other major trumps or the signs. But ideally, I would like to address what you want to know, or what you aren't sure about, or what you'd like to know more about. And I think if one person wants to know more, there's going to be more than one of you. So by all means, be selfish and express and explain what you want. Whether or not other people want it or not doesn't matter. Tell me what you want, or what you want to know, or what you struggle with, and we'll take it from there. That was it. Thank you very much. Well, I'll see you in a few days. Okay, bye-bye.